And we welcome those of you who just watched Marquette defeat DePaul. This is Florida State and Virginia Tech. And it's a three-pointer for the Noles. Off the right hand of Wilkes.
And Wyatt Wilkes is one of those guys got a ton of confidence. A couple of games ago had 19 off of 5 for 6 three-point shooting for Leonard Hamilton. He's out there to knock down jumpers.
Had 19 points in that January 25th win at home against Notre Dame. And as Brian mentioned, hit those 5 three-pointers. Couture, he wants one.
Florida State doing a good job of being able to limit Virginia Tech to one and done.
Another one. The results, not exactly what Wyatt Wilkes was looking for. 11-4. Noles have the first half lead here in Blacksburg. Over 13 points per game and 5 rebounds. Here is the LS Tractor on the floor for Florida State. Evans, Gray, Forrest, joined by Wilkes, who just hit a three-pointer but then missed his next three-pointer. And also Bolsha Koprivica. And on the floor for Virginia Tech, brought to you by LS Tractor, Couture, Wilkins, Wabisa Beatty, Cone, and Ojiako. So Mike Young mixing it up a little bit with his LS Tractor on the floor almost midway through this first half.
And early in the first half, Virginia Tech has had some problems with the switching from Florida State. We talked earlier that this Florida State team is going to switch 1 through 5. What Virginia Tech has to do is recognize the mismatches and take advantage of it. Earlier on, Tyrese Radford was able to do that, but since then, they've struggled trying to find the niche on offense. Radford
is the only Virginia Tech player who has scored. They are 0 for 6 from beyond the arc for the Hokies in this first half. As a team for the season, they shoot 37%, which is second best in the ACC. Early struggles, though, shooting. Wilkins looking baseline. And that pass is going to bounce out of bounds and belong to Florida State. All right, 11-4 in the first half. Now time for the Ford Keys to the game, brought to you by your local Ford dealer with Brian Oliver.
And for Florida State, depth and havoc equals points. That's what they do, is they try to wear you down and get turnovers for offense. And for Virginia Tech, they need to find a second score. We've talked about Landers Nolly and being that guy. As of late, it's got to be somebody else. For them to be able to beat this team today, someone else has to stand up. What looks so far could possibly be Radford. You see Vassell knock down that mid-range jumper.
Virginia Tech has not beaten Florida State since March of 2016. They won 96-85 at the ACC tournament. Earlier that season, they beat them here in Blacksburg, 83-73.
Tom, one of the things that Virginia Tech has to do a better job of is recognizing that Florida State is switching, and it's almost like a matchup zone, because what they're doing, as soon as they cross, they're not extending out.
That's Cone with the 3 ball.
That's a welcome sight for Mike Young for the last game against Miami. Cone only shooting 2 shots. Before that, he was the guy with the shot in the arm, averaging almost 13 points in his last 5.
Jalen Cone, the freshman from Walkertown, North Carolina. The first 3 of the game for the Hokies. Florida State comes right back with one from Vassell.
How smooth is Devin Vassell? You see right now, nice penetration by Evans. If you're Wilkins, you got to stay home on Vassell. He's a guy that you know is going to score the ball at will. I'd force Evans to make a play and make a shot.
How about Vassell? He's connected on all 3 field goal attempts, and 2 of them have been three-pointers. 8 points for Vassell. Couture takes it to the rim. Vassell got up there, but knocked it away. And it will be a goaltending violation against the Noles.
Good play by Couture. Realized he had Wyatt Wilkes building. You see Vassell coming over for the goaltend. But I like Couture realizing that he's got Wyatt Wilkes on him and putting his head down and getting to the rim.
His breakout game came against Maryland Eastern Shore with 17 points. And he made 5 three-point baskets. They go inside and they get the bucket. Position inside for the Noles, and Koprivica.
Koprivica is one of those guys between him and Olenicuk. I think he's a little bit more polished offensively, a guy that they can throw the ball down to. He's got a good touch that last time. Florida State being able to take advantage of him being able to post up.
He's a freshman from Belgrade, Serbia. Wilkes has it. Evans moves it up quickly. Lost the handle to Couture. 3-on-1. Players flanking both sides. He goes to Wilkins off the glass.
Good read by Couture, understanding he had Wilkins ahead of him, not giving it up too early, trying to force the defender to make a choice at the last time, giving to Wilkins what I thought could have possibly been an and one.
Koprivica the turnaround. And now Beatty. Wilkins, who scored that last bucket, averages just 4.5 points per game. Couture, fancy dribble, pump fake.
I'm going to tell you, if I'm a player and I feel like a guy can't guard me and I'm going at him, that last time Couture realized that he's got Wilkins, he's saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you a little bit of a 1-2. And that last time being able to finish it at the basket.
Hokies have made 4 of their last 5 shot attempts. Crossing the 8-minute threshold of the first half. Vassell stepping back, unselfishly inside to Wilkes.
Again, one of the things we talk about Vassell, not only is he a scorer, but this guy's got a little bit of everything in his bag. Being able to recognize the play, not force it. Nice little dump off to Wilkes under the basket.
That's now 5 points for Wilkes and 2 of 3 from the floor. Cone. Couture scrapes the roof at Kessel Coliseum and hits the 3.
We talked about Virginia Tech suffering right now, not finding offense. And it seems as of late, Couture has been the guy.
Gray misses. Beatty saves it in the corner in front of his own bench.
If I'm Beatty, I try to get the ball to Couture and see if you can take advantage of that mismatch between him and Wyatt Wilkes.
Couture has 7 points in the first half. That's above his season average of 6.3 per game. Cone, angular rebound, kept alive by the Hokies. Couture, not bashful.
How about Couture, ladies and gentlemen? Hunter Couture. He's feeling it. He said, come on, everybody, I can hear you. How about Wyatt Wilkes said, okay, you know what? I'm going to calm you guys down a little bit. You've been going at me. I'm going to give you a little bit more. Nice recognition by Koprivica finding him in the corner.
How did he make that one? 8 points in the first half for Wilkes. 3 of 4 from the floor and a couple of threes. Wilkes, a player that has earned his time on the floor for Florida State. No, Couture, he checked.
That was a heat check. If I was Couture, I was trying to get by Koprivica to the basket because he's athletic enough to get there.
Vassell steps into a 3, and you get the feeling he knew it was in as soon as he left his hand.
And he's been doing that to Virginia Tech. Mike Young not helping with his guys. Understand that scouting report says that's the one guy you have to stay with.
11 points for Vassell Bryant. He has made all 3 of his three-point attempts. Couture.
How he's handling that.
Drives it all the way.
And see, Tom, I think that with Tyrese Radford, you don't give Florida State a chance to be able to set their defense and be able to switch. That last time, he put his head down and got right to the cup.
Louisville Cardinals, number 6 in the nation, also with a win today against NC State, 77-57. Number 9, Duke on the road at Syracuse tonight at the Carrier Dome, 8 o'clock.
Number 3,
including Florida State. Those are the 3 ranked teams out of the ACC.
How about the shot in the arm of offense? Hunter Couture has come in and given Mike Young. This Virginia Tech team at the beginning was struggling to find offense, and he comes in and lights it up.
10 points in the first half. Couture, Polite trying to follow his miss. 3 players grabbing for it, and here comes Beatty. Nolly, show and go. Over the defenders.
He was able to set that up because you got to honor that three-point shot. Like the ball fake, being able to get there, realize he's got a smaller man, and being able to give him a nice pull-up jump shot. Hopefully that'll get him going.
First 2 points of the game for Landers Nolly, who averages close to 18 points per game, best among freshmen in the ACC and 3rd in the conference. Williams, the spin and the miss. Radford rips it out of the air.
If you're Virginia Tech, you want to be able to try to take advantage of being able to get Florida State before they can set up, because what they've been doing is setting and then switching.
Too much on that one from Nolly. Florida State basketball. 4:24 to go in our first half.
And so obviously this game is going to be a game of runs. You want it for Virginia Tech if they can continue to be able to get to the basket. And then for Florida State, they're going to keep bringing guys in at you. They're going to keep rotating guys in and out. And can you sustain the energy that they are for the entire 40 minutes?
Noles have led by as many as 9 in this first half. Vassell lets it fly and hits another three.
How about Vassell again? A guy that has not forced 4 for 4 from behind the arc. And again, how smooth is he? He had Tyrese Radford, who's probably one of the better defenders for Virginia Tech on him.
14 points in the first half. Devin Vassell already above his season average of 13.3. Radford dropped it off to Beatty, nowhere to go. Shot clock at 10. Nolly. Couture. Nolly couldn't handle the pass, and they never got a shot away. Deflected out of bounds. And it'll be Florida State basketball when we come back. The Castle Coliseum with Mike Young's team trailing the number 5 team in the nation. 29-23. The Noles out in front of the Hokies. 3:27 to go in our first half. Time for big bow moments. Devin Vassell.
And Vassell has come out, and he's been perfect from the beginning, being able to get it inside and outside. Again, we talked about his ability to be able to score for this Florida State team, and he's a guy that you can't leave open because, again, he's lighting it up from behind the arc. And again, hasn't been hesitant at all, has realized that he can get his shots when he wants. Very efficient. Already up to 14 points, 5 for 5. You see, averaging 13, already got 14 with less than 4 minutes left to go in the first half.
The 4 made threes for Vassell ties the career high for threes in a game. He is perfect from the floor. Polite cut off by the defending of Couture. Vassell in the zone in the first half.
So if I'm Beatty, I realize, why would I leave him? He's the guy that's killing us. Why would I leave on the penetration where you see Polite has gone down? You got to have that discipline. Normally, for Virginia Tech, you stay home and force someone else to beat you.
5 for 5 from beyond. 22 feet 1 and 3/4 inches the distance this season. In men's college basketball, as that one will bounce over the top of backboard.
Second back end for the Seminoles, number 15,
Nolly's got just 2 points, Brian.
And I was going to talk about Nolly. We talked about that for Virginia Tech, they needed a second scorer. But you need your first guy to be able to get going. And I think a lot of that is because Florida State, with them switching the way they have, they're putting a lot of long guys that are athletic and putting a lot of pressure. He hadn't had a lot of daylight.
Nolly just 1 for 5 from the floor. Williams in traffic. Couture lays out for that one. Beatty finally got it. Here's Nolly. Inside of 2.5 to go in the first half, and Nolly's basket will count on the drive.
Now, again, we talked about Nolly. He's a guy that's going to give himself a chance, and he understands that for them to be able to win, he's got to be able to put some points on the board. I like the fact that he put his head down, didn't bail out the Florida State defender, and got to the cup.
Nolly had 14 points in the loss at Miami in the most recent game for Virginia Tech. And that missed shot by Polite will give the ball back to the Hokies, trailing 32-25. Back and forth, first half of action between the teams.
For Virginia Tech, they've had success when they've been able to get downhill. That's what Tyrese Radford getting to the basket, and then Couture has been able to give them a nice shot in the arm as well.
3 of 13 on 3-point chances, though, for Virginia Tech. Beatty weaves his way. Somehow it bounces out. Everything but the finish from Beatty.
I think he was surprised that he got there by himself. How about the penetration by Trent Forrest?
First basket for Forrest.
And Forrest is one of those guys that understands what he needs to do to get this team right. He's not going to sit back and try to get 10 shots. He's going to take what their offense gets. He's going to put enough pressure to make you help so he can get someone open and pick his spots.
He is a double-digit scorer on average as well for Forrest. 11.5 points per game. Shot clock is at 7 for the Hokies. Beatty the recognition. Drops it off to Radford.
And that was set up by Wabisa Beatty being able to get into the defense. You force Florida State guys to have to collapse. And on the tail end of that, Radford being able to slash to the basket.
8 points in the first half for Radford, 4 of 6 from the floor. Vassell. Polite. Pivots in the paint. Williams in a congested area. Disjointed possession from the Noles. And the foul is going against Olinichuk, who set the screen.
Second team foul against the Seminoles.
And while we have a second, 39.1 on the clock, a word from Works Switch Driver.
The Work Switch Driver. With 2 rotating chucks, you can switch between bits in a second and get projects done.
Olinichuk out. Osborne came in. Horn is leaving the game. 14 in white. Horn is yet to score in the game. Missed on 2 3-point shots. And now the final 30 seconds of our first half. Nolly on the handles. Radford rises and scores.
Nice post up or duck in, if you say, for Radford. And again, him being able to get to his left hand. Florida State want to be able to go into the half.
Double figures for Radford now with 10 points. 8th time this season. He's got the double digits. And now foul is called on Radford.
Mike Young realizing they've got a foul to give.
So Radford leads with 2 personal fouls in the first half. 10.4 seconds on the clock. So glad that you're with us for ACC college basketball. Tom Wormy and Brian Oliver with you. What a first half it's been between these two teams. Sellout crowd watching the Noles and the Hokies.
Virginia Tech's number 3, Wabisa Beatty. That's his first.
Beatty picks up the foul.
13 foul. Virginia Tech.
Very little fouling by either team in this first half until this point.
Virginia Tech's number 4, that's his first.
In fact, we've only had 2 free throws combined by the teams. Osborne, the only player to go to the line, and he made 1 of 2. Forrest. Williams to beat the buzzer. The tip won't go from Osborne.
That is halftime. Your score.
34-29, Florida State. And Vassell, a strong first half. 17 points, 5 of 5 from 3-point distance. Halftime in Blacksburg.
Exclusively on ESPN Plus, UFC 247, Saturday, February 8th. Light heavyweight champ John Bones Jones.
13 minutes of action in the first half. He was 2 of 7 from the floor, but missed both of his 3-point attempts. In fact, Virginia Tech as a team struggled from beyond the arc, Brian.
And again, we talked at the beginning of the game, in order for Virginia Tech to win, they had to have a second guy. You've got a second and a third guy. Now you need your main guy to step up.
The second and third guys both got to double digits. Radford with 10 and Couture also off the bench with 10 points. Let's go. Second 20 minutes. Castle Coliseum, Blacksburg, Virginia. Hokies in the white, Florida State traveling black, garnet, and gold. Horn the misfire. Long rebound.
That last possession for Virginia Tech, I didn't see a lot of movement. It just seemed like it was all congested. You didn't force the Florida State guards to have to move it all. They just passed one guy off to the other. get to the basket, has not forced it, understood that Vassell was going that last time, been able to get to a spot with a nice little fadeaway.
Trent Forrest is a poised and composed senior from Chipley, Florida. And he's got 4 points in this game. Double digits on average in scoring, 11.5 per game for Forrest, number 3 in black. Wide open underneath. It's Radford again, moving without the basketball.
And one of the things that Virginia Tech has had success is being able to backdoor the guys from Florida State. We've seen on multiple occasions them being able to go backdoor because Florida State is switching, anticipating being able to deny. That last time, Radford being able to come over with a good basket going backdoor.
Nolly has the rebound. Radford has 12 points in the game. First miss of the game for Devin Vassell. Nolly tried to drive and ran into the Florida State D. In transition, Polite, strong to the glass, and he's going to the line.
Florida State using defense to create offense. The last time, again, we talked about with this lineup, they've got guys that can switch 1 to 5. And then, again, how about them swarming in, coming up with the block, Vassell getting out, and then Polite being able to go in a smaller Beatty, get to the basket for the and one.
2 fouls on Beatty. The lead is 7. It was as large as 9 midway through that first half, and Florida State went on an 11-0 run. Virginia Tech cutting that lead to 5 at halftime. Aline extending the range.
That's how you're going to beat Florida State with movement. You can't stay stagnant and go east to west. That last time you see a nice little rub for Aline being able to come down. Again, Florida State has to be able, you got to keep them in motion defensively. You can't allow them to just pass one guy off to the other.
First points in the game for Aline. Polite in rhythm. Off both sides of the rim. Osborne able to track it down. Back to Polite for the reload. Vassell comes over the top horn. Comes out of the fray. Nolly.
This place would have exploded if he had knocked that one down. But again, Nolly not being able to come up and find the rim today.
Nolly's 0 for 3 from 3. Vassell virtually cannot miss.
But what have we seen is that the fact that he's just taking his time, playing within himself that last time. Good penetration by Forrest. No one came over, being able to get it to Vassell. Just calmly knocking it down.
20 points, Vassell. 6 made threes, knocked away by the defending of the Noles. Polite is wide open. Cannot connect. Horn had the position for the clearance. Nolly lets the defender fly on by. Horn wants 3. Nolly offensive glass, surrounded by Noles. They were reaching in on Nolly, and a whistle stops play.
Again, how about for Florida State? You see Trent Forrest being able to get in. Forced to help by Beatty. Vassell is there. If you're Beatty, you got to stay home. This guy is on fuego. Hotter than the peppers that Peter Piper ate.
Wait, how do you say that in Italian?
E troppo caldo, lui è molto caldo con le pepperoni, lui è mangiato.
That means he's 7 of 8 from the floor, 6 of 6 from three-point distance, and a well-deserved rest on the Hamilton bench.
That last time, I thought Nolly passed up a wide-open 3. You can't have your leading guy second-guess himself. You see Florida State come up with the deflection and the finish by Evans.
First basket, Raekwon Evans.
For Virginia Tech, you need a basket here. Right now, I think that the wheels are starting to come off the bus a little bit. You have to be able to get a go-to basket to get your crowd back into this game.
Matching the largest lead of the game for the Noles. Beatty looking to create. Shot clock is at 10. Nolly to the free throw line, just over the front rim.
Tom, how many times have we seen that the success that Virginia Tech has is when they are able to go back door? Florida State is switching and they're staying on top side, anticipating being able to deny. That last time, backdoor pass to get it over to Nolly.
6 points for Nolly. 5 times this season, the freshman of the week in the ACC. And there's Gray for 3.
I remember talking to Leonard Hamilton. He talked about his guys and the freedom that he gives them is that he doesn't want to handcuff them as yet another deflection and steal.
Gray just made his 8th three-pointer of the season. Now they try to whip it inside Olinichuk. And a foul is called. So the lead up to 10 now for the Noles early second half. Hokies have over 600 wins in this facility. They win 76% of the time. First-year head coach Mike Young got win number 300 for his career in that first ACC game on November 5th at Clemson, to win 67-60.
How about the job that he's done this first year for him? You know, this is a team that was picked at the stellar at the beginning of the season. Right now, jockeying to be in the upper echelon.
Last season, he was the head coach at Wofford in the Southern Conference. They went 30-5 and shot 41% as a team from three-point distance, second best in the entire country. Looking for three-point success from his team in the second half after struggling in the first half from long distance. Beatty knocked it away. Racing to the bucket. Beatty off the glass.
By anticipation by Visa Beatty being able to get in the basket lanes.
First basket from Beatty. Evans slashing.
Nice penetration by Raekwon Evans. I was curious that with Vassell on the bench getting a blow, where would that offense come from Florida State?
So that's 4 points from Evans. He averages just 2.8 per game this season.
One of the things that Leonard Hamilton wants his guys, he encourages them to play to their strengths and void their weaknesses. Don't try to do too much, especially on offense.
Competitive depth, a huge key to Florida State's success this season as number 5 in the nation comes to Castle Coliseum, and Williams hits the mid-range. He's got 4.
Great penetration by Cone, being able to get Wilkins. Wilkins not settling for the 3.
This is Cone.
Opportunity for Virginia Tech to be able to get something in transition.
Wilkins is right on his average of 4.5 points per game. Cone up and under. Olinichuk recovered. It rolls out of bounds across the end line and to Florida State.
You saw that block by Olinichuk, and that's what allows them to be able to switch. And you see, how about Olinichuk being able to recover and come up with that block? That allows Florida State to be able to switch 1 through 5 with the ability of Olinichuk and Koprivica to be able to go out and guard guards and stay in front of them.
Olinichuk from Poland in a transfer. He's played at Ole Miss and Drake prior to his stop in Tallahassee. Trying to set the screen for Williams. Little screen and roll, and they work it to perfection for the Seminoles.
Great recognition by Pat Williams. Realize he's got Olinichuk going to the basket. With a smaller guard there, you throw it up for the big guy and allow him to go finish.
First bucket, Olinichuk. Couture had a big first half, relatively quiet so far in the second half. Shot clock to 7 for Cone. Beatty has to fire away.
Good defensive possession for Florida State. You talked about Couture. I'd like to see him be able to come back in and pick up where he left off.
Beatty is just a 21% three-point shooter. Missed on that last attempt. Forrest dumping it low. Olinichuk, 2 straight possessions.
Good read by Trent Forrest, realizing on that pick and roll that Virginia Tech is showing, and then he's got Olinichuk just rolling to the basket. This lineup that Virginia Tech has, they've got to find some offense. It's got to come from either Cone or Couture.
The lead is 12. Beatty drives, doesn't get the roll, the whistle prior to the follow from Ogiaco.
Basket counts by number
So there is basket interference against Florida State. The Beatty basket will count.
And Florida State's been able to find something to be able to get the big guy on the roll. I love it, Chuck.
That means, you know, we showed you that tournament game from a season ago where Vassell hit the three at the end of regulation to send it to overtime, where Florida State would eventually win against Virginia Tech in Charlotte. So that means he's 10 of his last 13 on three-point shots against the Hokies.
Well, and you see how he's been able to get those shots. He's not forcing them. He's staying in motion. He's realizing that he'll wait for the penetration and then kind of camp out. If I'm Virginia Tech, that's the guy that I do stay on. I force someone else to beat me. There have been a couple of rotations where they've chosen to come off of him. And I don't think that if a guy's 6 for 6, scouting report says maybe you stay.
He's got 20 points. His career high is 23. As a team, Florida State is 9 of 18 from three-point real estate. Williams. Silky smooth, Brian.
And here's another guy in this system, and that's what Leonard Hamilton does. He brings these guys in, and he plays them for stretches. Pat Williams is the guy that we've seen. He's 6'8", can put the ball on the floor and finish. And like you said, he's silky smooth, getting to a position for that pull-up jumper.
He's got 4 points after missing the last 2 games with a toe injury. Getting plenty of quality minutes this afternoon against Virginia Tech. Beatty bailed out. Couture lines it up. Williams well above the height of the rim for that board.
And I thought Couture passed up the first look that he had, and he felt compelled to shoot the second one.
Missed by Evans. Out of bounds. And the officials awarding the basketball to Florida State. Our officiating crew: Ron Groover, Leslie Jones, Nathan Farrell. 351 career wins for Leonard Hamilton, most in school history. 6th winningest coach in the history of the ACC. Needs 3 wins to tie Bobby Cremins for 5th on that list, the Georgia Tech legend. Forrest, blocked by Horn. A springy Williams is there.
We were talking about Pat Williams and what he does for this Florida State team. And I thought it was a great penetration and then a better block on the weak side help, but Williams there to be able to clean it up. You see the penetration, and Horn comes over. No one puts a body on Williams. He comes up and goes right at the rim. And again, with that length and that strength, puts a lot of pressure on the players from Virginia Tech.
So Williams completes the old school three-point play for the freshman from Charlotte. 87% from the free throw line on the season for Williams.
And they're Florida State's one of the better shooting free throw teams in the conference. And back to Virginia Tech, you've got to find some offense. Florida State has kind of stifled them and gotten them out of their sets.
Brian, you're exactly right. The Noles are first in free throw shooting. 77% as a team, and they're getting the ball back.
And these unforced errors, again, one of these things for Virginia Tech is Michael Young calls a timeout, trying to rally his guys to get them back.
Team in the nation. They're coming off a loss, as is Virginia Tech on Tuesday on the road against Miami. That win came in Hawaii in the Maui Invitational against then number 3 Michigan State. 9-2 run for the Noles. And it's their largest lead of the game at 15. Couture comes up with it. Pull Pravitsa back in there, number 5 in black for the Noles. 9:45 to go in our second half. Tom Wilmy, Brian Oliver, our outstanding ACC College Hoops production crew with you. Redford underneath.
And you've got to play through Landers Nolly. I know that he's not had a great offensive game, but when you get him the ball and he gets into the lane, you're forcing the defense to have to collapse. That last time being able to dump it off. And how about Trent Forrest being able to finagle his way in for an and one?
The composure of the veteran Trent Forrest, the senior.
14 fouls.
Struggled at Virginia in the most recent game for the Noles.
Seminoles, number 2.
Coming through in that instance.
Back in for the Hokies, number 4, Naheem Ali.
And while we have a moment, a quick word from Myrtle Beach Golf Trail.
Myrtle Beach Golf Trail, a new way to experience golf in Myrtle Beach. Visit Myrtle Beach Golf
off the three-point play. Critical possession for Virginia Tech here, Brian.
Absolutely. Again, I talked about the fact that they got to get something to the basket, and you see Aline be able to go for the up and under. In the first half, Tom, that's where they were able to get some success, understanding that Florida State has basically shut off that three-point line for them. Them being able to get to the basket is where I thought they had some success at the end of the first half.
Brian, are you ready for this? First free throws of the game for Virginia Tech coming up right here.
Well, and that does surprise me, but in the way that it does it. This is a team that gets up 14 attempts. You see Aline knock down that one. But if you've seen how Florida State has played them, they basically have nullified a lot of the penetration, a lot of the three-point line. The time that Virginia Tech has gotten to the basket, they have had a lot of success.
Two from Naheem Aline, the freshman from Buford, Georgia, and he's got 5 points.
Under 10 minutes left to go in this game. If you're Virginia Tech, you've got to be able to get some stops right now. Florida State is going to be able to run the clock, run their offense, and they've been successful at getting their looks.
Polite. Forrest. Williams. Weak side, Conan Polite. Polite wins the duel.
And again, you see kick it out. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to run it. The clock is your friend. You're in no hurry. You've been able to get your looks and open shots. For Virginia Tech, you got to come up with another stop.
Forrest in the corner. Williams dribbles to freedom right before the end of the shot clock. Radford wants to run it, waiting for reinforcements, but not for long. And Radford got fouled, taking it right to the rim.
And again, for Virginia Tech, this is where you want. You want to be able to get downhill. You see Tyrese Radford being able to go into the chest of Pat Williams. And again, not allowing Florida State to be able to set up that half-court defense.
So after the Hokies win just one of their last 8 three-point attempts, they've managed to get to the free throw line. Using all of the Castle Coliseum rim. The iron most kind to Radford.
We've talked about Virginia Tech and the fact that they've struggled from behind the three-point line. But again, this is a team that leads the conference and makes. And again, all you have to do is get some stops. Get some stops, get some baskets, and it'd be amazing that when that three ball will allow you to be able to get it going. And again, Landers Nolly has shown you he's an explosive scorer. Been a little dormant up until now.
Virginia Tech has made 4 threes in the game. That gives them 220 on the season, Brian. And as you mentioned, tops in the conference. Nobody shoots more, nobody makes more per game, and they're second best in overall percentage from 3.
And when you shoot it as well as they do, you always have a chance. It's a 12-point game, and you're talking about 8 minutes. This is a good disciplined Florida State team on both ends of the floor, and you've got Vassell who comes back in, and now opportunity for Virginia Tech. You don't have to rush, try to penetration, and try to get to the basket.
Just his second miss in 9 field goal attempts for Vassell, and that includes 6 threes. That one rattles out for Horn out of the corner. And now just one of their last 9 from three-point range for Virginia Tech as Florida State throws it away at this end of the floor. When we come back, 7:43 to go. Hokies have the basketball. Of encouragement for the player from Atlanta, Georgia, Brian.
And here's what he's probably telling us, like, hey, man, I don't care what you've done. We're still in this ball game. We've got under 8 minutes left to go. We're down by 12. I need you. And for a guy like that can throw it up and score, you want to tell him, hey, put that behind you. Let's get it going. Keep shooting it.
3 of 10 from the floor. He's missed all 3 of his three-point chances. 6 points in total for Landers Nolly, the leading scorer for Virginia Tech, averages close to 18 points per game.
And here's what I'll tell you, Tommy, even if he's not looking to score, if he's aggressive with the ball, that's going to free up and create other opportunities for his teammates. We saw he was able to get Tyrese Radford a basket because of his penetration and dump off.
Radford is the leading scorer for Virginia Tech, Brian, with 16 points and 7 of 9 from the floor for Radford. Nolly rains in a 3.
And on cue, and you see Mike Young raise his hands up. And again, for a guy like that, once you see that ball go in, then now you're sitting back and it's like, okay, you know what? Let's hit the reset button. I'm back in it.
First 3 of the game from Nolly, and the lead is 9. Tipped around. Taken by Nolly.
Good defensive possession by Virginia Tech.
Nolly dropped it off. Out to Beatty for three. Williams had the board. It goes out of bounds. And it is off of Virginia Tech.
You see his last possession, you go up, and you see Pat Williams on his hand up, and you do it. Hey, it's good that I'm sitting over next to you, but I'm going to say that I thought that Nolly had his hands on it afterwards.
The officials agreed. And now Beatty chatting with Mike Young. Beatty to the bench. Forrest brings it up for Florida State.
If I'm Virginia Tech, every time the ball goes in to Olenechuk, I allow him the defender to stay at home, force him to beat us. Don't double, don't come off those shooters.
Consider that the Noles have won 17 of their last 19 games. They go inside Olenechuk. Couture strips it away. Potential 3-on-1. A lead!
On his head. Okay. All right, everybody. Again, how about a lean?
Double-fisted rim rocker from Polite.
And that was set up by the penetration by Trent Forrest. Anthony Polite not opting to stay out there, and a great read in the finish. We've got a lot of action going before. How about Naheem Aleem putting it up on Vassell's head, and again went right at him, looking for the and one. And you see, you jump for it, but then Florida State coming back off the penetration. And how about Anthony Polite with the grown man finish? You gotta like the action that's going back and forth. And again, I think that Virginia Tech being able to get some stops, and then you see a little bit of the back and forth, and you see the runs right here. Florida State, Virginia Tech, and it's been going back as of late. Virginia Tech on a 9-0 run.
Just over 5.5 minutes to go in regulation. Last two meetings between the teams have gone to overtime, and that includes at the ACC tournament in Charlotte last March. They played late in the regular season, Brian, a year ago. And that was in Tallahassee, 74-73, the win in overtime for the Noles. Polite at the line. He's now 1 for 2 from the stripe. Florida State with the overall lead. They've won 5 in a row in the series, but they've been close. Have to go back to March of 2016 for the last win in the series for Virginia Tech, and that was at the ACC tournament. Out of bounds, Florida State basketball.
How about that fight by Raekwon Gray? If you're Virginia Tech, you've definitely got to put a body on him, because he's a guy that's big in stature, but he's quick. That last time being able to come and get the ball back over to Florida State.
48% shooting as a team for the Noles in this game. Lead back up to 10.
And this is where having an experienced point guard helps you with Florida State. You see Trent Forrest comes out, sets it up, runs a play.
Radford the other way. Nolly. It's an easy board for Vassell.
That would have been a big basket for them. Again, you got a good look. If you're Mike Young, you'll take that. But how Virginia Tech has been able to get back into this game is being able to get their stops. And you have to do a better job of being able to box out and put a body on somebody. You can't give Florida State another chance at second shots.
Nolly's just 1 of 5 on three-pointers. Virginia Tech just 5 of 23 on threes in the game. Deep into the shot clock for Forrest. Olenechuk, did he get it away?
I think they're going to review this one, because, again, I'm not certain that Olenechuk was able to get that one off. by the time the shot clock went off.
So Forrest, who sent it low to Olinichuk. Shot clock winding down. It's at 2 there. 1.
I'm going to say absolutely not. It looks close to me, but I'm going to think that it was probably still in his hand. And you see what it looked like, hit 0.
That didn't take long.
Yep.
That is a shot clock violation.
Officially a shot clock violation against the Florida State Seminoles. Ron Groover confirming what the video replay showed us. Whiteout inside Castle Coliseum, sold out to see Virginia Tech host the number 5 team in the nation. 4:31 to go. Please stay with us for crunch time. A 10-point difference. The Noles. Virginia Tech, when it holds its opponents to 43% shooting or less, undefeated this season, 14-0. Florida State, though, above that mark right now. 47% from the floor.
Easier said than done. Virginia Tech, you got to get something to the basket. This is where they've been able to have their success in this game. Florida State is not going to allow you to be able to get those open looks. Most of those looks from behind the arc are being contested.
Aline comes back out to Radford. Weak side board on Forrest. The miss from Aline. Virginia Tech trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. They've lost 3 of their last 4. They have not won since January 22nd. It was here. Double overtime against North Carolina.
Florida State, you're not in a rush. Again, the clock is your friend. You're going to run this down. Maybe run a pick and roll action. Force Virginia Tech to have to help. Either play at the rim or a 3-point shot.
Forrest. Couture came up with it. Inside 3.5 minutes to go in regulation.
If you're Virginia Tech, you've got to go. You've got to get to the basket quick.
Prior to the shot and drive from Nolly, looks like Polite will pick up the foul for Florida State. Noles had won 10 games in a row prior to their loss on Tuesday at Virginia.
14 foul.
Winningest coach in school history, Leonard Hamilton, patrolling those sidelines for the 18th year, trying to win on the road at Castle Coliseum. Horn with something to say about it, comes up short. Forrest tried to save it. Stepped up.
Able to kick it out, but P.J. Horn has not had a lot of luck from behind the arc today. They're going to get back into it. You need Nolly to step up.
0 for 6 on 3-pointers for Horn.
And again, he's making the best basketball player. But here's the thing. If I have been struggling, I'm getting a chance to get to the basket, I got to get one more dribble.
Virginia Tech over 3 minutes now, Brian, without points. Nolly got the defender in the air and Vassell, and then collided with him. And Nolly strides to the free throw line.
And so I'm stating the obvious that he needs to be able to come back and forth, but then it's easier said than done. When you look where you've got Devin Vassell at you, you've got Trent Forrest hovering around, and Anthony Polite. That's a lot of long athletic guys that are focused in on you, and they're doing their best to make sure that he didn't get one as he is the first one of 2.
First trip to the line of the game for Landers Nolly, the redshirt freshman, Atlanta, Georgia. 2-time high school state champ. 79% free throw shooter this season for Virginia Tech.
Also into the Hokies, number 1.
11 points now for Nolly as Wilkins returns to the lineup. Horn is out.
And if you look at how Florida State has had command of the second half, you'd think they'd be up by more. This is only an 8-point game. Virginia Tech, you need to stop right now. And again, this can give you an opportunity to cut the game under the 6 or 5.
Gray trying to get by Wilkins, and he does it.
So here's the thing with Gray. He's a big guy, but he's very quick when he puts the ball. Being able to get past this guy and to use that girth to be able to create some separation. Good finish.
Yeah, 7 points for Gray. Told you Nolly just got to double digits. 20th time he's done that this season. Kicks it out. Aline, it was online, but hit the back iron that close to the three-pointer from Aline. Now a foul on Radford, and that's his third.
What's helping Florida State is that when you've got Nolly at the center of the lane right there, and he's going to penetration, you've got guys that are helping off. You said that last time. They're forcing him to be a passer. Again, making a great basketball player and get the ball over to Aline, but coming down to the gut, you want your star player to be able to get good looks.
Aline is 1 for 4 on three-point shots. Virginia Tech 10-2 this season on its home floor, but trailing right now by 10. Vassell, Aline and Couture are in the vicinity.
Virginia Tech's number 4, Naheem Aline, his
third on Aline. And that will put Florida State into the bonus.
And then we talked earlier, and you corrected me, Florida State, the top free throw shooting team in the league. And again, you run clock, you force the foul, and then you go down and you knock down your free throws.
Vassell is 74% on the season from the line.
And Tom, we talked about for this game how important it is for each team. If you're Virginia Tech, a chance to be able to separate yourself from that log jam down under the premium teams. And if you're Florida State, you want to stay up there in the upper echelon, you know, in the ivory tower with the elite teams.
Florida State trying to improve to 8-2 in conference play. Should they hang on and they score a hole? Those free throws from Vassell, the first of the game for him.
Virginia Tech, you're running too much clock. You got to get some quick hitters.
That was Couture on the drive. Keep it on the floor, according to Leslie Jones. But a foul is called. Polite, the foul for Florida State.
And Tom, if I'm Mike Young, I'm getting Landers Nolly in some kind of motion. To throw the ball up there when Florida State's defense is already set, you've got 4 other guys that are sitting there waiting for you. You've got to get him in some kind of motion where we can get it going off.
Nolly's wide open. Couture fights Vassell, who tips it over to Forrest.
I think he was surprised when he went out and realized he was so open. And again, if you're Virginia Tech, you've got to extend your defense. The guy like Trent Forrest, he's going to take his time and run this clock down.
Hokies just 1 of their last 7 shot attempts in the comeback bid. And that just won't get it done. A minute and change to go in regulation. Vassell steps right into it. Wow. Ripping the ropes for the Noles. Devin Vassell, 25 points, and that's a career high.
Only fitting you get the ball to Vassell, and he knocks down a cool 3.
Radford to the rim.
Radford.
Timeout on the court.
Timeout, Virginia Tech.
Taken by the Hokies. Vassell, what a performance, Brian. 7 of 7. Am I reading that right?
Absolutely.
From 3-point distance?
And you see being able to use his lens and be able to step into that jump shot. And again, just as cool and calm. And he hasn't forced. He hasn't allowed the Virginia Tech defense to speed him up at all. He's taking his time. And how about 7 for 7? You see 25 points, new career high. As good as advertised.
Wow, we selected him as our Hardy's star to watch. Our producer Ken Neal made a good choice in that regard. Tip of the cap to producer Ken Neal, director Johnny Tyus, technical director Mike Voigt. What a performance by Devin Vassell. 25 points. 7 for 7 on three-pointers, and overall, Brian, 8 of 10 on field goal chances.
And we talked about him and the fact that what he does for this team, because again, they don't run a lot of plays for him. He gets it within their offense and creates offense for himself.
Polite tried to get it to Vassell. They miscommunicated there. And now Nolly for the long-range 3, at least 3 or 4 feet behind the line. About 25 feet away at least for Nolly for 3.
And I think if Virginia, this is either where you foul or you decide that you're going to wave the white flag. But I don't understand why they're not fouling.
I mean, it is a 10-point game, and they can shoot the threes. And finally, Nolly fouls Vassell.
That's on Virginia Tech.
So I know different coaches have different philosophies, but if I'm a three-point shooting team, then I go ahead and I foul early and try to extend this game. Again, I understand that Florida State is the best free throw shooting team in the conference, but I still give myself a chance.
In the game, they are 6 of 9 as a team from the line, and Vassell is 2 for 2 in free throw attempts. Sophomore, Sewanee, Georgia, 6'6", 180 pounds at the free throw line for the Noles. So we had mentioned that M.J. Walker had tweaked his ankle against Virginia. We did not see him today. So in his absence, Vassell stepping up with a career-high performance.
And that's the beauty of you, Leonard Hamilton, with the amount of guys that they're rotating in and out, is that obviously you want him and need him, but I think that you're looking ahead to that matchup against Carolina, and you want to make sure that you've got a healthy M.J. Walker.
There's another three right there from Virginia Tech and Wilkins. So they've hit a couple of threes. Here's the TD pass to Polite, and he will stuff it. A rim bender, Anthony Polite, and that may be the capper for the Noles. Final 8 seconds. Nolly with a reload from 3. So the Noles took an early lead and never gave it up. 74-63, Florida State wins on the road. And for Florida State, they improved to 5-3 overall away from Tallahassee and 4-2 in road games in conference play. 74-63. More to come from Blacksburg in just a moment.